Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. We got a special guest from Austin, Texas, Julian Rosen. Julian, say hi to everybody, brother.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's really great to be here, man. And really great to, right before you hit the record button, dude, Jeff's a stud. If you're a new listener and you don't know enough about his story, because I'm sure you make all your episodes about the guests, right?
Yeah.
Definitely check out more about Jeff too, because the guy's.
I appreciate it, brother.
I could interview you for hours and hours now, knowing what I know.
Very cool. Very cool. Julian is the co-founder or partner of Wake Up Wealthy. Partner of Wake Up Wealthy.
I came in about a year and a half into its inception.
Okay, very cool.
Partner.
I always start off our podcast by getting to know the guests, what they're currently doing, I guess, your business, where you are. We started talking before the podcast, so we probably could have recorded at least half an hour of our conversation.
We can backtrack too.
I'm just going to jump into it. Let's let the audience know who you are and what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So like he said, my name's Julian Rosen, currently living in Austin with my wife. No kids yet, 2 dogs. And I'm the head coach at Wake Up Wealthy, which is a performance coaching program for young men in business. And dude, it's like everybody is pitching this, engineer your own life, live a customized life, live a life by design. And you can, dude, we'll go into the details of how to actually do that today. And just every day, man, I spend about an hour in the morning really just reflecting on, where I am. My spiritual connection is very important to me. And last week, actually, I was just telling you now that COVID is here in Austin and traffic is a lot less. I was riding, we have a moped, like a Vespa, and I was riding my Vespa. I was coming home from martial arts, and, there's this street called Congress Street in Austin. And, it's got the skyline and it's got a clear view of the Capitol building. It's this beautiful, red clay building. And I was like, shit, man, this is it. This is the life I wanted when I was a little kid. I do exactly what I want to do every day. I'm in love with my craft. I'm in love with my wife. I get to do things and stay physical with my body. I get to explore nature. I get to ride this orange scooter through this city. I'm living near the water. I go paddleboarding. And it was just a truly amazing moment to be this is exactly this is it. If you handed me a blank slate and said, what do you want? This would be it. And so, it's essentially the entrepreneurial dream, right? You're trying to find your passion and you're living your passion, which is incredible. And it's inspiring because a lot of entrepreneurs, that's their dream, right? To find their passion and be able to turn their passion into their career, which is awesome. Yeah, man, 100%. And a lot of what we teach, because, our demographic is, these guys 20 to 35, these young male entrepreneurs, they've hit that initial round of success, but they've gotten there by just fucking grinding, just by hustling their faces off and putting passion on the back burner, right? Saying, well, yeah, I gotta grind now and sacrifice my mind and body now, but one day I'll be able to do my passion and I'll be able to change the world. Because we are, dude, we're conditioned to think hey, leave your passion for later. It's this mutually exclusive thing, right? It's no, grind now, and then the passion and the purpose and the balance, that all comes later. And so we justify doing certain things. And what we're actually teaching really successfully to hundreds and hundreds of male entrepreneurs is dude, homie, you got it backwards. You need to unlock who you truly are today. You can no longer edit yourself or distort yourself or morph yourself or hide yourself. You need to find out who the fuck you are, and you got to lead with that guy, right? You got to lead with that purpose-driven guy. You got to who are you? What are you truly passionate about? Because a lot of, and I was guilty of this too. We think we need to present ourselves differently to the world, especially as a business owner or entrepreneur. Yeah. And we think we need to do it in order to succeed and gain validation and revenue and all these things. And it's just heavy and hard. And so what we do is our first phase of coaching is we call it wiping the software clean. We got to unbrainwash all the shit you learned growing up about success and money and validation. We got to free you from that. And then you can actually show up powerfully. You can actually make your time and energy more valuable. And that is what's going to make you a magnetic leader to your team, to your clients, to your future family. And so And I get to teach that to guys every day. And it's just amazing because, like, dude, they all have a moment where it's just like, bro, it just clicks. And they're like, dude, it gets to be this simple, right? Like, it gets to be this simple. And so I think as male entrepreneurs, we're all guilty of putting all this pressure on ourselves and assuming that it's got to be this struggle and you got to suffer. And, you know, if you're not up at 4 a.m., you're a lazy piece of shit. Like, there's all this like stigma around being a male, you know, in this hustle culture. And what we're doing is helping guys unlearn that. And as they unlearn it, they actually succeed way more quickly and way more effectively. And it's cool. Like, we show them they can have the cake and eat it too, kind of thing. And obviously that's because I went through that transformation myself. And that's the transformation that I'm most equipped to share with other guys.
There's about 3 or 4 things you're talking now I want to dive into. A couple of things. How long have you been married for?
It'll be 2 years in November. So about a year and 10 months, or about a year and 9 months.
So when you did get married, you were telling me prior to this going on air, if you're okay with me saying this, your wife works is a nurse at Texas Hospital. What's the hospital's name?
It's called Dell's Children. It's
Children. Okay.
It's the big one down here in Austin.
Okay, very cool. So did you guys move for her career?
Yeah, well, dude, it's actually a crazy story. So we met in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was a personal trainer working 14 hours a day. I was making like $2,500 a month. Like, I was just burning out. And I started to get into entrepreneurship. I started an online fitness coaching business. I was like, oh, you know, I can leverage my time a little more. I can help more people in less time. I can work less hours. And she was a nurse at Johns Hopkins at the time. And so, which is a big hospital down there in Baltimore.
Yeah.
About a couple of years into dating, she was like, I want to do this thing called travel nursing. And travel nursing, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's where you work with a recruiter and you actually work in 3 to 6 month contracts, but you go all over the country, right? So it's like you could be in Chicago, and then you can be in Hawaii, then you can be in Nashville, then you can be in LA. And so she's like, I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, well, for me to do that with her, I would need to eventually, you know, scale my online business so much so that it replaced my, you know, income from in-person training. And so I made this, you know, commitment to myself. I'm like, dude, in a year, I'm going to be able to just run it all from my laptop. Right. And so we set the date, like, all right, in March 2017, we're going to start travel nursing. I'm going to hit the road with her. I'm going to run my business wherever I want to. I'm going to break away from the gym that I was working at, and just really learned a lot about myself and had to master a lot about myself in order to make that happen. And then boom, March came around. Dude, we moved to Hawaii. We lived on the big island of Hawaii. We moved to Nashville, Tennessee, Phoenix, Arizona, LA, San Francisco, Chicago. And then we ended up in Austin full time. So for the last like 2.5 years, we were just living out of my truck, moving to all these places. And it was amazing, but eventually, we settled in Austin because great hospital to work at. And then she's actually going back to school to get what's called a nurse practitioner. And so Austin, University of Texas, which is located in Austin, has an amazing program. So she actually just started school this week. So it's like, dude, it's crazy how when you really truly set goals and you remain loyal to them,
100%.
Right? Like, you remain 100%. Faithful to them. Like, dude, the shit will happen. You don't have 100%. To kill yourself in the process, but like shit will happen. And so, you know, like I said, fast forward a couple of years, here we are. And one of my things was like, I got to live near water. Got to live near water. And like, as I'm looking out my window now, it's called Lady Bird Lake. It's right in the center of Austin. Like, dude, we live right on the water, overlooking the water. Like, so a lot of these things fell into place. And obviously there was some work involved too, but we ended up here, and it's really cool seeing.
I apologize about that.
No worries, man. No worries.
Let's dive into Julian meeting Brody, your current partner. Like, where'd you guys meet? How did this all happen?
It's actually a wild story. So before I joined Wake Up Wealthy, you know, I was a performance coach myself. And really, I had organically grown. And dude, it's important. It's important to own your wins, dude. Like, I'm really proud of the fact that, like, dude, I was a fitness coach. I knew nothing. I told myself I knew nothing about personal transformation and mindset transformation and neurophysiology and all these things it truly takes to transform someone, right? Like, but I just had this call on my heart to step away from fitness and really dive into deeper levels of transformation. And so dude, I did it, man. Started from scratch, dismantled my fitness coaching company, started to become a one-on-one performance coach, and organically built a multiple six-figure business, just literally just helping people. Right. And
when did this start? How many years ago was that?
So that was right when I got back from Hawaii. So like 2017, right? 2017. I was like, yeah, 3 years, man. And I just had this call in my heart, man. It was like, dude, I knew I was like, man, fitness is a great vehicle for transformation, and fitness is a great thing to keep your mind and body, in a higher energetic state and in more synchronicity with itself. And fitness is still a component of what we teach today, but obviously it's not the only pillar. It's just one pillar. Yeah, so, dude, I just got called into, and one thing I share with a lot of people is in 2013, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. It was stage 3, and in a year she passed away. And
it was condolences.
Thanks, man. But what you'll see here is like, even that was this gift, this fucking gift. And like, but she passed away in the year after. Dude, I was a mess. I was in a really dark depression. I was clinically diagnosed with depression, on anxiety medication. Like, dude, there was a year in my life where, I didn't want to be dead, but like, I just didn't want to exist. I was just in such a dark place. I was like, I don't want to end my life, but like, I wish I could just press pause and just and just kind of go to another dimension for a while. Like, it was a really dark year. But doing certain things, I was able to really evolve my relationship with a lot of the hardship I was going through. I was able to change my perception of it. And that really changed me. And so, I always had this call on my heart to help people engineer an emotional transformation. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, like, most entrepreneurs, they don't need high-level business tactics yet. A lot of them just need an emotional transformation. They need an identity, like a belief system transformation.
100%.
And that's what unlocks their performance. And so I was like, I loved fitness, but like, dude, the real call on my heart was like, man, you gotta help people liberate themselves from pain. You gotta help people liberate themselves from limitation that isn't there. You gotta help liberate people from fear and these things that their mind does to them, but it's not real. And so that's when I started becoming a one-on-one performance coach, heavily based in mindset and belief systems, heavily based in neurophysiology, which is how what happens in your mind truly impacts the performance of the body, the caliber and consistency of what you do in life and business. And so, really just, dude, it started with a theory, and I was like, I got to go prove this and perfect it. And dude, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, just perfecting the system, getting reps, perfecting the system, getting reps, learning more coaches, more workshops, more books, more retreats and stuff. And so, back to your original question, Jeff, I went way left field. I was a coach, and I came across Wake Up Wealthy, and, because Wake Up Wealthy, it's a performance coaching program. And so I had built this business on my own. It was getting, dude, I'm a team. I love being on a team. I love collaborating. And I was like, you know what? Like, I could use some support. Like, I could use a network of guys just like me, because a lot of entrepreneurs as well, you feel like an outlier within your friends and family, right? You're like, yo, I want to break the model. I want to build my own life. I want to build my own legacy. And, a lot of people are just, they're cool staying comfortable. Yeah. Right. 100%. Like, and so it's, it's really, really special and really potent and really powerful to get around people who are like, no, dude, I get it. Like, I just want to be better than I was yesterday. Not because I hate myself, not because I'm unsatisfied with who I am, but like, because I can. Right. And so, Wake Up Wealthy was this huge brotherhood of guys who were committed to success and got some of the struggles that, I couldn't tell my wife, or I couldn't tell my friends who were just working a 9 to 5. And so I joined as a client. And it was a great program. I was able to scale my group coaching. Like, it worked really, really well. But at the same time, I'm like, man, there's some ways that if I was helping, I could make this a lot better. Right. And like, but it wasn't my place. I was just a client at the time. And, so Brody Kern, who, you'll be having on the show in a couple of weeks, he was running it with this other guy named Brian, and Brian decided to go, I think he was going to open his own digital marketing agency. And so they just parted ways. And so, Brody was left running this thing by himself. And, I was like, man, I love being on a team. I think I could join this team. And I think I like the synergy between us two would be epic. And so, dude, we had that straight up conversation about what it would be like to join. And, as the head coach, and really build out their framework and their coaching systems and their modalities. And dude, it just fit. And then if you really want to get weird with it, Jeff, do you know what ayahuasca is?
Yeah.
It's like a plant medicine, right?
Yes.
Dude, I was out in a town out here in Central Texas doing some medicine work, and you'll love this story, dude. So in ayahuasca ceremonies, there's the Church of Santo Daime, which is it's a Brazilian affiliated church, right? So all of their material is in Portuguese because it's from Brazil.
And I'm Portuguese, so I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Portuguesa. And so I'm doing the work. I'm in an altered state of consciousness, if you will. And I had this book of hymns, this book of Portuguese hymns in my hand. And so I started asking questions to myself, and dude, it was the craziest thing. But I would ask the questions, and then my hands, without me doing it, like my hands would just do it on themselves. I would ask a question, my hands would open this hymn book, point to a page and point to a line. And that line was the exact answer to my question. Dude, it was a next level experience. And so I'm asking questions about my life. I'm asking questions about moving to Austin, because this was a month after moving to Austin. And then I go, should I really do this thing with Brody? Like, why? Why am I doing this with Brody? Why am I joining Wake Up Wealthy as a coach? And again, dude, my hands just went wild, flipping through the pages, boom. And it just said, to heal the hearts of many. Like that was the line in a hymn, but it was the answer to my question. And then I was like, boom, done, in. And then, dude, just committed. And then, dude, very quickly we scaled this thing up. We've got our messaging down. I am so proud of our delivery system. Like, there's a lot of really cool coaching programs out there that market really well. And then you join and you just kind of get live calls every week.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. But dude, once someone comes in, once they're onboarded, we have an entire online learning protocol they go through. We have 2 coaching calls every week. They have access to pods. They have access to us as coaches. It's just this potent thing where in their first week, dudes are having, setting records in their business. They're like, man, I have never made more than 5K in a month, and I just made 15K this week. It's these systems, it's these performance systems that we've just fucking perfected hundreds of times. Where I can look you in the face and say, yeah, it'll work for you because you're a human and this shit works for us. And so that was, really at the beginning of the year, man. 2020 is when we really put the gasoline on. And here we are in September, about to finish Q3. And man, we're just blasting our goals because we give a shit so passionately about what we do, and it works. It just fucking works. And when you combine those two things, how are you not going to win? You know what I mean?
And your client base, at the end of the day, people want real. They want real. That's the easiest way to think. So if you're real with somebody and you're being honest and you're giving them what you're promising them, it changes everything.
Yeah, and that's what drew me to Brody in the first place too, was the dude will just sit in front of you and be like, dude, here I am. I was a drug addict. I struggled with addiction. These are the businesses I started. These are the results I've created. I'm imperfect, but I know how to help you, right? And so in the world of coaching, you get a lot of guru type people who are like, hey, I know the way, I'm perfect, follow me. Whereas we're nah, man, we're fucking human doing the work every day too. And we're imperfect. And these are the tools we use to stay optimized physically. These are the tools we use to get optimized mentally. These are the tools we use to track our business every single day when we don't feel like it. And it is that being real. Because at the end of the day, dude, humans just want fucking humans. They don't want an idea.
100%,
they don't want an image.
100%.
Yeah, they want someone who gets it. And so
I remember before we went live, I said I was coaching an individual prior to coming, and he was struggling because he's a musician and he's trying to build this image of himself. And I said, you got to scale everything back. I go, people want the real you. Grab a guitar, grab a freaking set camera. Don't edit it. Don't do nothing. Just be raw. Let people know who you are. That was exactly what I said to him before we started. 5 minutes before I got on with you. It's just people want real. That's the easiest way to explain it. And if you're real with somebody and you're being honest with them, even if it doesn't 100% succeed, they know you've been real with them. It makes a huge difference in their trust factor, right?
100%. And the reason why it's so rare is because a lot of people feel unsafe being real.
100%. And that's I think that has a lot to do with social media, right? Everybody picks this perfect image because everybody looks at Instagram and Instagram is just the best of you.
Yeah.
And that's what people follow, right?
That's what they follow. And so, yeah, dude, it can be very toxic. And so, it can be toxic to think about it. Every time you open your phone, you're seeing the exceptional. Every single time you're seeing the fittest of the fit, you're seeing the richest of the rich, you're seeing the most beautiful of the most beautiful. It's easy to go, what the fuck's wrong with me? Right? Like, and just like your example, that's a perfect example with the musician. Like, a lot of people, they feel unsafe being like, nah, here's who I am. And here's the good things, but dude, here's my scars, and here's the shit I battled with, and here's the ways I'm still imperfect. Right. And like, dude, my mission every day is to just know who the fuck I am and stay in character. Like, don't break character for anybody. It doesn't matter if they're an 8-figure earner. Like, don't break character for anybody. And I see Einstein behind you, man. There's this one quote, and I don't know it exactly, but Einstein said, because he was doing all these lecture circuits, and they asked him a question like, man, everyone seems to, like you. What's the secret? He's like, it's no secret. He's just like, I treat everyone the same, whether they're the janitor or the president of the university. Like, I just treat everyone
I love
the same.
that. That's something I think if everybody lived by, this would be a better world altogether. I love that line.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so simple, dude. Like, what you'll find, because dude, like, what you shared with me, like how you selflessly give of your time to help nurture and help develop other entrepreneurs, like a lot of the stuff they need is so simple. Like, they need the truth. They need what is simple, but our brains love the complicated shit. They're like, no, I need the 12-step funnel with the tripwire, and I need the upsell and the downsell. And it's like, eventually there's a time and a place for that. But right now, dude, like, how are you treating your body? How are you treating your mind? How are you treating your loved ones? Like, are you in alignment? Are you truly who you are, or are you pretending to be someone else? Because pretending to be someone else is not sustainable. You'll burn out, right? And so, like, dude, just by getting to alignment, so many guys develop so much more personal power. And dude, power is what drives revenue. Power is what changes people's lives. Power is what makes you a leader. And so a lot of people, like, again, they're chasing the image without ever knowing who they truly are. And it's like trying to build a high rise on a super shitty foundation. Like, you can't build 100 stories. It's going to blow over the second any instability happens. And that's what happens when dudes run into stuff. They get shook because their foundation is so, it's just feeble. It's not deeply rooted in anything.
I love that word too, rooted. A lot of people don't use that. It's being rooted. I love that word. When you got into this aspect of your coaching, from the physical to the mental, did you do any NLP training? Like, where'd you learn this?
Like, a lot of it was working with amazing coaches and going, okay, what worked? What worked really well? And then also having the courage to go, what didn't work, right? Because, like, again, like, there's not one person with the one right answer. So it's like, what didn't work? What would I have done differently if I were them? And so it just started with an hypothesis of what it takes to create change. And so I was highly inspired by Joe Dispenza, right? Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Really, his shit resonated with me right off the bat. So a lot of he bridges the scientific and the spiritual. And so, like, that really resonated with me. And so I started to incorporate that. And it's really cool because NLP is such a huge umbrella. Like, NLP can really be any type of conversational type coaching where you disrupt old thinking patterns to introduce new ones. Yeah. Right. And so, like, I wouldn't say there was any formal NLP training, but at the same time, like, you could, if you were to record me sitting down with one of our clients, you could point to different frameworks and formalities and go, oh, that was very NLP like. And I would say,
yeah, you've used in our conversation here, you've used a few words like modalities. You've used words that are very common in NLP. So I'm tracking, I'm listening to it, right? Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I love what you actually said, Julian, is I'm gonna flip it around and say, I always tell people, when you're starting a business or you're trying to find a better version of you or whatever you're trying to find, you never have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You find there's so many people that have been through that path already. Just learn off other people and I could sit down with you for an hour and I probably find one or two things that I could impact into my life. I might not agree with everything you're going to say, But by taking a little by everybody, learning a little bit by everybody, you're growing, and you're constantly developing and growing and developing and growing. And that's the way you develop and grow, right? Which is a huge part of branding yourself and building yourself, right?
Yeah. And you know, I'm sure you've read This Is Marketing.
Yeah.
Seth Godin, right? Like
yes.
we have the same haircut, me and Seth Godin. But yeah, dude, he's just like, like marketing and branding is storytelling, and storytelling is, you got to know who the fuck you are first, right? 100%. So that what is your story? Because only by getting crystal clear in your story can you then present a story that perfectly intersects with your client's story, right? And that's what makes people want to buy shit and work with you, is this guy gets me, or this brand gets me, and this brand isn't like that brand, and that's a good thing. And so it's like, yeah, my story and how I present myself, it's not going to resonate with every single human, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. But the clearer I can be on who I am, I'm going to be able to really, like a laser, shoot right to the heart of the person that needs my help.
Yeah.
Right. And that's important.
So it's very important.
Yeah. And so you're absolutely right. It's knowing who you are, so that like your identity can in the public eye intersect with someone else's self-identity, and that's what creates loyalty. That's what creates brand loyalty. That's what creates fans. And so, you know, when you think about your favorite musician, and right, it's like, man, their lyrics, like, you know, they just like, it speaks to me. It's like, yeah, because they're using their story to ignite your story, and that's what creates this bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. I had a guest on, and Essie's one thing he does, he's a business coach as well, Eric, and he was talking about utilizing your story to build your brand, right? And everybody wants to connect to your story, so it's very important to utilize your story to grow. So that's a nice little key part. I'm going to jump to a few little things that you started talking about at the beginning. I just wanted to dive into because they're something I'm interested in. Martial arts. You said you train martial arts. What martial arts do you train right now?
So right now, there's this place called The Void. If anyone listening to this is in Austin, The Void, like, dude, they're everything from the overall mindset of what they teach and how to, like, again, just the quality of the instructors, like, it's the fucking best. But so right now they teach a very distinct style of kickboxing, which is a mixture of like Dutch kickboxing with American kickboxing. So there's a little Muay Thai in there, like a little clinch work and stuff, but it's very Dutch and American striking heavy. And so, which there's right. So they have the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they have gi jiu-jitsu, they have no gi grappling. So it's like, dude, it's like they cover striking and they cover grappling in multiple ways. And, you know, they teach this, it's called Iron Mantis boxing. So it's this Kung Fu based boxing style, which is heavily counter based. And dude, it's just really, really cool. So you get in there and you experience this synergy of like Iron Mantis Kung Fu with Dutch kickboxing, with American kickboxing. And then on the days where you're grappling, you're doing, you know, formal gi jiu-jitsu. And then some days it's no gi jiu-jitsu. Some days it's combat grappling. Like, just, it's so dynamic and it's so amazing. And so, like, I grew up wrestling my whole life, and, you know, I trained Taekwondo from the ages of like 7 to 16. And so it was, but then from the ages of like 25 to 30, I really, you know, I stayed fit and did like some CrossFit and stuff, but like that side of me, the combat side, was, I had a shoulder surgery and was recovering from that. And so really put it on the back burner. But, you know, like, yeah, dude, martial arts is, you just learn so much about, really, you train your nervous system, right? Like when someone's trying to punch you, it's very, you know, you want to tense up and you want to tense your neck and you want to freak out. And same thing with jiu-jitsu, right? You want to breathe really, really intensely, and you want to try to like hyper manage and hyper control things. And it's that counterintuitive freedom. It's like, no, you got to learn to just fucking detach a little. Like, you have to learn to engage your peripheral vision, cool your breath down. Like, that's where power comes from. And so I just love the martial arts because it's, you know, everything I do with mindset and meditation and really controlling, right? Establishing control over the mind and body instead of letting them control you. Martial arts is a perfect vehicle for that because it's easy to watch, you know, UFC and be like, oh, it's just brutish meathead stuff and whoever can punch the hardest wins. It's like, no, it's whoever has more dominance over their own mind and body. Like that's the guy who can really, really, handle himself in a high stress situation. Like that's the person who can string together combos. That's the person who can hit that key takedown. You know what I mean? And so it's there's just obviously so many correlations between what you learn in there and in real life or business.
Yeah, 100%. I've been involved in martial arts my whole life, one way or another. So it's when you said that, it kind of clicked with me. And like I told you prior to our podcast, my main business, Kimura, which is what we do. So huge part of it. So I'm going to dive back into Julian. I want to. Growing up, was being an entrepreneur something you always envisioned? Where was your path growing up?
Not at all, actually. I had a very subconscious aversion to it. So after 9/11, my dad lost his job. And so he started his own business. And I just remember growing up and dude, he would just lock himself in his office for hours trying to figure out, how he was going to make money for us. Right. I had 2 sisters, so we had a family of 5 and I was like, man, that does not look fun. I was like, dude, owning your own business looks fucking stressful. Like I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a federal agent. I wanted to do DEA or ATF. Like I wanted to just chase bad guys. And I pursued that until my early 20s. Like nothing ever came of it. But like the thought of owning my own business just seemed so like too much pressure. So like, it was actually something that I really rejected. I was like, nah, that's not me, man. Like, I go with the flow. I'm not a business guy. Like, like that was the thing, that was the story. That was the story I told myself. So actually, part of my transformation was digging into why. Like, why did I have such a resistance to owning a business? Why did I have so much resistance to truly being self-reliant, right? And so, and it just goes to show you, anything you're resistant to, it's not because you're bad at it. It's not because you suck or whatever. Like you're resistant to it because deep down there's a belief that it's unsafe. You're like, we resist what we think is unsafe. And so, obviously it made sense, like seeing my dad struggle and seeing him worry about money and seeing him worry about clients. Like that's what I saw growing up. And so for me, I was like, well, fuck, I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that? And so, it took a lot of inner work to really release that fear and really revisit some of these memories and remove the emotional charge from them. And that's a big NLP thing too, is can you 100%. Reframe your perception of the traumatic event? And trauma doesn't have to be assault. Trauma can be, seeing your dad freak out and then yell at you. Right. And so it's like, can you de-emotionalize these things and change your relationship with them to, and like I said, like, in less than a year, I was able to scale from scratch a personal coaching company, in a very saturated market to 6 figures with very low overhead, just by changing the story, right? Just by changing the story and changing the beliefs about it. So, but to answer your question, like, dude, it was something that, like, man, I just considered myself really good at a hobby. Like for a long time, I resisted the entrepreneur title or the business owner title because, again, dude, I was deep down, I was afraid of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, when you moved to, is this with Austin, Texas? You obviously moved quite a bit from the last couple of years. Is this something now you're trying to grow your roots there? Obviously, you said, let's talk about that too. The business now moving to Austin. Let's talk about that. We talked about that prior. So before we went on air, Julian was talking about how Brody and essentially the whole company has now moved in the last couple of weeks to Austin, which is pretty amazing. Let's talk about that. How is that all? How did that come about?
Dude, yeah. So I guess I have a magnetic factor sometimes, but so the plan was to relocate Wake Up Wealthy headquarters to Orange County, California. And so dude, my wife's in school here. We love Austin. So I was anticipating, every month traveling out there for a week, right? Yeah. Because when you're in the same room with your partners, like you can go a lot faster, a lot further.
100%.
And then, Brody came down and visited and I don't know if we just changed his mind. Maybe he had a preconceived notion about what Texas was like. And, Austin isn't like the rest of Texas. It's very green. There's a lot of water. It's a progressive place. Like there's a lot of tech here. And so like, yeah, I was able to, I guess, change his mind. And so like he came and visited and then went back to Missouri. And then 2 days later, he's like, hey man, I'm coming out to look at houses. Let's do this. And so, now we're looking at office space. Like I said, our media video guys down here, our operations guys moving here next week. And
are any of these guys with families, or are they single?
So Brody's the only one with a family. So Brody's married and has a kid. And
how old's, I'm going to get Brody on. How old's his little one?
He's almost 2. He's almost a baby still. Cruz. Yeah, he's a baby. So, I mean, he does, like, he's having a blast doing whatever, right? Every day's the best day for him. And so a lot of the guys are younger. So it was very easy to say, come on, man, come to Austin, put on some roots here in Austin with us. So, by the end of Q4, we'll be in an office here and dude, like, even our clients, because a lot of our clients are these young guys, they have no families, like a lot of our clients are moving to the Austin area just to be close to the source, just to be close to the energy, just to, stop in for a day at the office and just jam with us. And so, it's, it just goes to show you, again, we were talking about, be loyal to your vision, be loyal to your goal. Like when you can choose to make your goal more real than your past, right? Like, this is where I'm going. This is we always say it to all our clients, the end is secure. The end is secure. If you can see it and you can feel it in your meditations, the end is secure. And so that has a magnetic power to it. People want to be around that type of certainty, right? We talked about people want to be around people that are real. Yeah. Right. And people want to be around people that are certain, right? Because you can fake confidence, right? Like, I could have came on here and faked a smile, right? But like, you would have known, Jeff, you would have known. You've been like, he was a nice guy, but he's fine. But like, people really gravitate towards that. And so, dude, I'm stoked that we're all going to be here. And, you mentioned that your ultimate goal, what's the lake up there?
Muskoka.
Yeah. Muskoka. So we do this event called Evolve, and we used to run it up at this ranch in Idaho, but now we're running it here at this place in Central Texas, where, similar to what you were saying, it's right on Lake Buchanan. It's got 6 houses, and next Friday, dude, we have 10 of our guys coming out. We fly them out here. We put them up in a hotel, and then Saturday morning, dude, we pick them up, blindfold them, put them in a van, take them out to this undisclosed location, and it's 48 hours of immense, intense transformation, mind, body, spirit business. And so even that we've been able to centralize by everybody coming here to Austin. So that's going to be awesome. Like, if you go on our Instagram, you can see some of the highlight videos, because we've done 2 before.
Yeah, I saw them on the.
Dude, they're epic, man. And they're just, as a coach, it's just the coolest thing. And, back to enjoying what you do. Like,
you're also building bonds with these people too, right? It's not even the business, the spiritual. You're building lifetime bonds with a lot of these guys, right?
Dude, big time. Because, with digital coaching and digital mentorship, we have a very close community. We have guys that if they live near each other, they'll go meet up. But we have dudes all over North America, Canada, Mexico, South America, all over the States. And so, bringing them all out together, developing that bond, looking them in the eyes and really seeing them, right? And allowing them to really see you, not just a screen, but like, getting, like, they can feel you and you can feel them. That's important for coaching.
So with the growth of the business over the last, how has COVID affected you guys? Obviously, you said you guys are on a great pace where everything had to become digital, as it was forced to be digital for a period. Now, obviously, you guys are opening up again. So how did that affect, or was that okay? Because you guys are in the moving stages and there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, man. So we truly live by that principle. Like, you're bigger than your circumstances if you choose to be. Yeah. Like, like, it is an attitude. The end is secure. The circumstances they're just the pieces rearranging themselves. They don't really matter that much. And so I remember we got back from our first Evolve event. It was March. It was that weekend in March when the NFL the NBA shut down, Disney World closed. It was like that weekend when everybody started freaking out and stealing toilet paper. And Brody and I just had a conversation. We're like, dude, this is not going to affect us. We just made the decision. We're like, I don't care what the news says. I don't care what, I don't care what the government says. Like, this just is not going to affect us. And we remained so loyal to that every single month, dude, April was a record-setting month. And then May was a record-setting month after that. And then June, like, we scaled to 6-figure months very, very quickly. Like, and then we had another Evolve event, and people kept telling us, no one's going to travel during COVID. Like, fucking sold it out, had an amazing event. Like, we just decided, dude.
When you do your events, how many guys do you allow into your event? So obviously your small events, right?
Yeah. So 10. Like 10 is that sweet spot. But what we found is this space that we found here in Central Texas can accommodate more. So what we're going to do is, graduates of Evolve can actually come back and help us coach it. So that way we can bump it up to 15 or 20. But it's not like a mastermind. We'll have bigger events like that where it's more relaxed and it's more educational. But dude, when it's this type of nitty gritty work, deep transformation,
you want to be intimate, personal.
Yeah, exactly. If it gets too big, you lose that factor, and that factor is important.
100%. So when you guys are working with your clients, is this something where obviously you're helping them scale their business, you're helping them spiritually? How much of the component is a spiritual aspect of it? The meditation, the breathing, all that stuff. How much of the component is that? Because that's something that I'm kind of diving into now for the first time.
Dude, that's amazing.
And I don't even call it meditation. I started probably about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Where I'm exactly what you said. I'm the 430 entrepreneur, and I do that there's a purpose for that for one of my companies. But I found I would call it almost quiet time. I find about 10 minutes every morning, and I just breathe and I think about the day past. I think about the day is ahead of me, and that's my time. And it's usually around 4:30 to 5. Everybody's sleeping. I come down, let the dog out, and just sit back and just sit on the couch or sit on the ground, whatever, and just breathe.
Yeah.
So how important is that component with your teaching?
Yeah. And dude, that in itself is a form of meditation, right? Meditation is really, it's reflective time with no real hard agenda.
Okay.
Right?
That's exactly.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is. And also they're as long as it fits and aligns with you, right? The 430 entrepreneur is amazing. If that, if it aligns and that's the time that gives you that space, right?
Yeah.
We need space in the morning, dude. We cannot just roll out of bed and start answering emails and texts. You cannot be reactive.
I got a very set routine morning.
Yeah.
Where I get up and I don't turn my phone on for the first almost hour, and I let the dog out, and I want some daylight, and I have my black coffee, and I start my day, and I have a routine. I make my do list for the morning, grab a pen and paper. I love still writing a list every morning.
Same.
And I get out, I have my do list every morning, and I do my little do list, and then usually around 4:45, 5 o'clock, I usually jump on a phone call because I have to deal with factory overseas, and that's when I'll talk to my factory manager. We'll talk for a bit, and then that's when I'll finally grab my phone around 5:30, and that's when my day starts, and I get my emails and all that. So I have a very routine morning, and I'm a very routine person. I find, because my schedule is so crazy with my kids and everything, I need that schedule. So I found I just added this in. Probably you're looking at around 4 months now, and it's become part of me now. And it's if I don't do it, I feel lost every morning. So it's almost like working out. It's I need to move every day, whether I'm going to lift some weights or last night I didn't do nothing all day, and I grabbed the family, everybody get bikes, went for a long bike ride. And it was 9:30 at night. We're hiking for an hour bike ride, coming home in the dark. So I need to move every day. So there's certain things that I don't lock them in sometimes, but I have to do them every day, right? So when you're teaching that, how much is that? How important that is to teaching? Because a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that yet, right? How important is that to?
Right, man. And so we have a very easy systems model, right? Power, performance, profit, right? Power enhances performance, the caliber and consistency of what you do, right? And performance drives profit, right? Your business is an extension of you, right? So if there's some shit going on with you, it's going to find its way into your business. And so, so we always talk about what does it mean to be in a place of power? And to truly be in a place of power, Jeff, you gotta be, and this sounds simple, but you gotta be here.
Yeah.
Right. You're very powerless when your body's here, but your brain is thinking of a negative what if scenario that hasn't happened yet. You're very powerless. When you're anxious about something in this moment, you are powerless, right? You're very reactive. You're very scattered. You're very fear-based. Your power is diminished. And so when we say really our spiritual training, our spiritual performance systems are, dude, can you just be here? Can you access the now? Because that is where you can access a flow state and create more. That is where you can lead more. That is where you can enjoy more. That is where you can actually execute without procrastinate. When you're really here now, procrastination just falls away. Because procrastination is the result of a story in your head about what might happen, right?
Yeah.
And so that spiritual connection with, dude, can you feel your feet on the floor and really be here? Can you remove the stories and just dude, you're in your office, you got Wayne Gretzky over there, we're having a great conversation, your feet are on the floor, you're a healthy guy, I'm a healthy guy. Like, reality is pretty good right here, right now. Now, if I wanted to feel anxious or scared or overwhelmed or angry, my brain would have to leave somewhere. It would literally have to go to some imaginary place and see something that's not there. Right? Like, that's insanity.
Yeah.
Right? And so spirituality is huge, because spirituality is, can you access reality without all the stories and the chaos and the static of your mind? And so for us, it's
I've never heard it explained that way, and I love that. That was the first time I heard it explained that way. And it opens up. It opens up how you to understand what in a form of meditation is being reality, is being here. I love that.
Dude,
I love that. Just that simple word is being here. I love that.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think spirituality has a connotation with it, right? You think of, a yogi meditating, or you think of people with crystals, or like you think of like this, like that in itself is a story that is not here now. So even people's knee-jerk reactions to the word spirituality are taking them out of the now, which is where, like, your power is only in the present. I didn't come up with that. I read it somewhere, but it's true. Your power is only in the present. When your body's here and your mind's somewhere else, you're not as good of a dad. When your body is here, but your brain is somewhere else, you're not as effective for your clients, right? When your brain is somewhere else, but your body's here, dude, you're just running on stress hormones, and you're a shell of yourself. So it's like, so spirituality, mastering presence, is where power comes from. And remember, power drives performance, performance drives profits. It just works, man. And so, but it's up to us as coaches to explain that, because a lot of guys are like, wait a minute, how is spirituality going to help me make more money? And it's like, okay, well, let's explain. Power, performance, profits, right? Like, your bank account doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It's the result. It's the accumulation of what you've done and how you did it. And what you do and how you do it is heavily determined by your sense of power and presence, right? And so it's like really just going back to the source.
I'm going to throw a word at you. I'm going to throw a word at you, because it's just coming. It's like glooming from you. What's your purpose? What's your purpose with this all?
So with it all is to...
This is your business. What's your purpose? Because you seem like you have a higher purpose to everything you're doing. So what's your purpose with it?
Yeah. So you can't give something to someone else that you don't have yet. Right? If I want to give someone $5, but I don't have $5, I cannot physically give them $5, right? You cannot give something to someone else that you do not have yet. So, dude, my purpose every day is to access reality more. So literally awaken to what I actually am, right? Like who I actually am. What did I learn along the way that isn't real? What are the stories, the assumptions about myself, about other people, right? The habits, the patterns, like every day, even if it's just 1%, man, 1% is a huge win. My purpose every day is to just detach from that at least 1%. Because I know that, like, when you create vacuums in your life, something good will rush in. Always, right? You clean your garage, you clean out your closet, you donate a bunch of shit, something good will happen to you a week later, I promise you. And so it's like,
I love that.
Dude, it just
you're resonating so much with me, Julian. You have no fucking clue, buddy. Like, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in karma, and I do believe in a purpose. We're here for a purpose. And I just had this conversation with somebody. I want to see where your mind is. I have a tight-knit group of friends, very tight-knit. I have a huge social network, whether it's business or friends. I have a huge show, I have a tight-knit group of friends. And I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and how this all resonated was, my wife had a childhood friend for years and years and years, and they've, over the last little while, separated, and they've gone on their own paths, and for some reason they've stopped talking, and this really hurt my wife. And I sat down with her and I said, I'm trying to explain to her and trying to make her understand that everybody in your life has a purpose. I'm going pure off courses. I just want to see where your mind is. Everybody in your life has a purpose. And I always say this, whether you're at the grocery store and somebody stands beside you, gives you a smile, you could have a shit day and that smile change your day. Everybody in your life, whether they're there for a day, a month, a year, they have their purpose. And when they're gone, it's okay, because they serve their purpose in your life. So where's your mindset with that?
Yeah, dude, like 100%. So I alluded to losing my mom and it being a gift. Like, my mom dying served a purpose. Right? It woke me up to the fact that, dude, I'm here once, I'm here for a short amount of time. Fear is such bullshit. Like, go do something cool. Like, literally, my mom taught me that. And, I mentioned I was doing plant work with ayahuasca. Like, I know my mom's not gone. Like, her physical vehicle may have changed shapes, but like, dude, my mom's not gone. What she is in her essence is still here in bigger ways than if she was still in her body, right? Like, I know that to be true. Like, and so, but yeah, I totally agree. And when it comes to like, because I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves. Like, what is my purpose? Do I need to go to a 10-day workshop to find out my purpose? Like, does it have to be a one-liner? Like, what's my purpose? And like I was saying, dude, your purpose is to find out who you truly fucking are. Like, no stories, no assumptions, no burdens from the past. Because when you are clear on who you are, what you do just flows naturally from you. So when you're clearer on who you are, when you feel lighter, you feel truer, you feel more powerful, dude, good just flows from you. And so that's your purpose, right? And it takes different shapes and forms. For a while, my purpose was fitness, right? For a while, my purpose was a one-on-one business, mindset, performance, spiritual coach, right? Like, it was, but like, I'm not married to that. I'm not pigeonholed to that. Like, and dude, in 2 years, I don't know what I'll be doing. I don't know what I'll be saying. But as long as I continue to cultivate growth and let go of old shit, my purpose expands as I do. And the things, and then just like who I am and how I treat people and the impact I have in the world will evolve as I evolve. And so like your purpose is, it's like clay. It's malleable. It's not this like hard set in stone tablet that you have to carry with you everywhere.
And do you believe in, like, one thing I always say as well is when anybody asks, I always say you could have so many different purposes in your life at one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So we have the same mindset with that. One thing I usually ask at the end, and we've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna throw a question at you. I ask at the end, but I still have a couple of questions after that, and it kind of resonates with what we were talking about prior. If you were to be gone today, how would you want your closest friends or somebody close to you, in a few words, how would they describe you? How would you want to be described?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really like, I would want them to remember a distinct feeling around me. Like, man, I just felt lighter around him. Man, I just felt like I didn't have to be anything around him, right? Like, I would love for them to be like, dude was pretty egoless, right? Like and we're all human. We all have a little bit of an ego, but like, I would love for them to just be like, the dude was real and I felt better around him. Like, that's literally, like, for me, that's just like the biggest win. Like, how could it not be, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Simple, sweet, honest. I love it.
Can I ask you that question?
Yeah. I mean, I want to, I mean, obviously, like everybody, you want to be left with your loved ones and your closest people to you to remember you as almost like a good soul, somebody that they could count on. I want to be somebody that people could count on. That's the easiest way to explain. Somebody that they knew when shit hit the fan, I was always going to be there for them. That's the easiest way to do it. And then that's one thing I try to instill with my children and people around me. It's just, it's when shit hits the fan, your real friends are there.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah. And dude, that's such a great question too, to get people thinking about how they want to be remembered, because like, newsflash, we're all going to die very soon. Like,
life is short. Life is so short.
Yeah.
Life is
so I think
so short.
A lot of people are afraid to do things, but it's like, you like, why are you afraid? Because it's dangerous.
One thing I do with my children and I try to instill in them is conquering fear. And I try to do that from a very young age. I've been doing this with them, is find something on a regular basis, whether it's public speak or whatever, and I force them to do it, and I teach them to do it. And I find if parents were to instill that in children from a very young age, it opens up so many more doors to them. Because life, a lot of people don't ever achieve their maximum potential because they're always scared. And I've always instilled in my kids, like, you have to break through those fears. You have to break through those fears. And I think a lot of parents need to start teaching their kids to do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because, dude, it's not the presence of fear. Like, thank you to our evolutionary psychology and cavemen and our ancestors, but like, fear is just a thing built in us. Like, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's a thing. Like, but it's your relationship with it. Like, it's your relationship with it. And I always tell people, like, and I usually light some incense and I say, fear is like smoke, because it is like smoke. Like, you can see it, you can smell it, you can become aware of it. But like, what happens when you put your hand through smoke? Like, it goes right through it. Like, it lacks substance. It's not real, right? Like, it's an illusion. Like, again, you can sense it, you can feel it, you can, like smoke, you can see it and smell it. But like, when you actually march up to it and poke it, it's not there. Like it's just a story. It's not real, right? It's a temporary sensation. And so it's, it doesn't go away, but your relationship with it just changes.
Do you find when you are teaching and you're running your camps, do you find having metaphors like that with the smoke is so much better for the teaching aspect, the visual?
Dude,
are you a visual person?
Yeah. I'm a little bit of both, but like, dude, metaphors and stories it's something how the human mind works. Like,
no, you're really good at it. You're really naturally good at it as you're talking.
I practice.
and you're doing it. It's just it's making. Usually, I don't get like when I have guests on. I'm just going through the conversation. We're talking. You're making me think. And as you're talking, I'm reflecting and thinking of my past or thinking of moments, which I usually don't do in conversations. I'm usually just flowing and having a conversation. You're making me think, and a lot of the metaphor, like right now, the smoke, it makes me think, which I love that. And it's a teaching aspect. There's also the visual, the VAC, the VAK, like you're visually giving us something to learn and see, right? It makes learning so much more easier, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's because, we learn through experience, right? Like think about how we learned a lot of our core beliefs. We learned them through experience growing up, right? Yeah. And so, there's only so much you can learn through words being spoken at you or words on a page, right? And like, books are amazing and all that, but like, if you like, we learn through experience, right? And so some kind of visual examples and metaphors just allow us it becomes more visceral. Yeah. And then it really sinks in. And so that's something that I've worked on, right? It's something I've gotten a lot of reps in. If we had this conversation a couple years ago, I would be far less effective, but it's like, I wanted to get good at it. So therefore I sucked at it for a while, but just, again, I was more loyal to the goal, loyal to that secure end. And here I am being able to flow this shit pretty eloquently just because I decided I wanted it and I was stubbornly loyal to it.
Do you do guest speaking or like speaking in front of crowds? Is that something you do right now, or something you were doing prior?
Before COVID, yeah, every now and then, like I wasn't actively marketing myself, but if there was like, I have a lot of friends that are like football coaches and stuff, and so like if they're like, hey man, come talk to the kids. Or like sometimes like, there are some coaches that have like their, membership groups and they're like, hey man, will you pop on Zoom and be a guest speaker for us? And there's a few like corporate workshops and stuff where I'll do it and I'll have their senior team on and stuff. But yeah, it's just like, and then obviously at our live events, right? Like even though the group is small, like, dude, it is the same thing.
100%,
it's delivering 100%. Power to people. So, but yeah, like it's something that I haven't just, it's like, I haven't made it a definitive goal of mine yet, just because like it hasn't, when it comes up, I'm happy to do it, but like, there's just certain things that right now have priority over it. And so,
yeah, of course, you're good at it. You can tell you're very natural. I think you would be very, very keen to doing. It's something that just flows with you, your presence, right? So I think there's something that, obviously in your future, something that I could see happening, right? Doing a keynote speaker and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it'd be awesome. And like, just back to what we were talking about with Einstein, right? It's like, because really nothing changes if I'm talking to you or there's 1,000 of you, right? 100%. Like it's still fucking humans, man. Like it's it doesn't need to change. It doesn't have to be weird or overwhelming because there's more people, right? We're humans and we all crave the same thing. And so I think that's been just like an unofficial theme of this episode, right? Is that just be fucking real. It's so much more effortless and it's obviously more effective.
Yeah. Wake Up Wealthy. Where do you see it going in 5 years?
Dude, in 5 years, it is going to be it's just going to be like a no-brainer. Like if you're a young man in business, especially in the digital world, like you can't not afford to go through Wake Up Wealthy, right? Like fuck 4-year college. Like this is the thing. Like if you're a young man in business, like I foresee it like this. Like a dude sits down and he's talking to his friend who's another entrepreneur, and the dude's like, yeah, I've never heard of Wake Up Wealthy. And the dude should be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I want it to be so widely so widely known and so widely accepted that it just becomes the new normal in the development of leading entrepreneurs. Like it just has to be like, it's just like the staple, right? Like, you know, just how like in the 90s and 80s, like working out at the Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, right? They called it the Mecca, and Arnold was always working out on the beach. Like, this will be the Mecca for like, dude, if you're a young dude in business, what the fuck are you doing not being in this group? Because just, dude, it's like, and it's not me being, you know, arrogant or cocky. It's just like, dude, the truths and the systems and the learning protocols that we deliver, like, dude, they're just going to make you such a better human, such a better leader. When a lot of these guys become dads, they're going to be such more patient, kind, and powerful dads. Like, it's just shit they need. Right. And like, and just the community aspect too is like, man, business ownership, entrepreneurship, pretty isolating. Like, dude, we have a cure for that, right? Yeah. And so it's like it helps the emotional and mental health as well. So it's, dude,
it's a lot of benefits.
Dude, it's, yeah, man, it just helps make the person so much better, which makes the business so much better, which makes their impact on the world so much better, and all those ripple effects just get bigger and bigger.
This is awesome, brother. We're gonna end it on that note. This has been an absolute pleasure, Julian. Getting to know you as an individual.
Dude, likewise.
You're like I said this in the beginning, I'll say this again, like, everything about you glows energy, confidence, and you're real and you're here at the moment. I love it. I love everything about you. So I hope this is a long-term relationship, friendship we could build here, and I'd love to have you back on. And I wish you all the success with your companies and your future and family and all that. So thanks for coming on, buddy.
Dude, likewise, man. And for all your listeners, like, I know when you're the one asking the questions, people don't get to hear a lot about you, but, you know, I hope one day you just do a, yo, this is Jeff episode, and tell them the amazing story about your son, the amazing story about, I mean, the dude selflessly gives his time to mentor young entrepreneurs, to make them better people, better men, better business owners. Like, I think there's a lot your audience may not know about you in terms of how fucking rad you are as a human and a dad. So I say, like, maybe at the end of the year on like the holidays, do a Jeff Tells All, dude. Do a Jeff Tells All episode, because this guy's awesome. If you haven't left him a review this podcast, because this guy's awesome.
I love it. On all the show notes, I'm going to put everything we could to get to know Julian, how to get a hold of him, Wake Up Wealthy, all the social media links, all the websites. And if you're a young entrepreneur and you want to change your life and get in the right direction and become here and real now, Julian, Brody are a great option for you guys. We're going to get you guys hooked up with them. Once again, thank you, brother. And we're definitely going to have you back on. Thank you so much, brother.
Dude, absolutely, man.